What's up, Internet? Welcome to On the Screen, the monthly podcast where we discuss a variety of topics revolving around the media we consume on the screen. I'm Tomato Man from YieldTomato Gaming on YouTube, and joining us today is Zombie Hand and Geek Scorpio from Gaming Theater Presents, as well as
Hello.
Yield Man, the gaming family man. And today, we are taking a trip down memory lane with gaming gifts and their stories. Who wants to start?
I got a fun one, so I'm going to wait.
Oh.
So is this us receiving a gift or us giving a gift?
Either one.
Now I gotta think. Give lots of people lots of
think.
things.
Nothing
I have
comes to
two.
mind?
I have two that are particularly memorable.
Well, good. That's what we want, memories.
So my first one was back when, oh my gosh, I think I was 14 going on 15. And the PlayStation 2, I think, had been out for about a year by this point. And I wanted one so bad because Final Fantasy X had come out, and I love Final Fantasy. And I was not able to get Final Fantasy X for a long time. And it really bummed me out because, obviously. And so I was like...
so.
Right. And so I started convincing myself that Final Fantasy X there was no way it could actually be good because I couldn't play. It was the only way I could like make myself like be fine
With not
playing
having it right then.
Yes. So I was like, it must not be very good.
If I can't have it right now, it's got to be terrible.
No. It was more just to make me feel better, not because I actually thought like that. It was just like, oh well, if I tell myself that it's bad and I believe it, then, then that will make it easier. So, this one year it was an early birthday / Christmas present from my
Liz's
my
face
mom.
when she realizes she can't play it right away.
Hang on.
That's all I got.
Yes.
Take that, sad Titus.
So when that summer, so anyway, it was like the summer after Final Fantasy X had come out. Maybe it was, I don't remember exactly. It was summertime. I remember it was August. And my grandma and my mom went in halvesies on a birthday present for me, and it was a PlayStation 2 and Final Fantasy X. And we were just like walking through Target at the time, and like I just wanted it so bad, and like kind of lamenting, sigh. I don't remember if it happened in the store right then or if it was like the next day or something, but they ended up going halvesies and getting that for me. And I remember, oh no, I must have been there because I remember the total at the time was $300 and like 25 cents or something like that. But it was like 300 some odd dollars for a PS2 and Final Fantasy X.
Screw you, taxes.
Yeah. And I was so happy, but I remember that when I got the PlayStation 2 home, it would start, but nothing happened. Like nothing actually happened. And so we ended up having to take the PS2 back because the part where like half of the insides lived were gone. And so if you look at the front of the PlayStation 2, there's like the top part where the disc goes in and your controllers plug in. Then there's the part down below, and if you look in that part down below, you could see out the other side.
What?
Because half the stuff wasn't there inside.
Oh my god.
Was it the big PS2s or the small
Yeah,
ones?
it would have been the fatty.
The fatties?
Yeah.
It was the very first run of PS2s, the fat ones.
Oh man, that's funny. You know, it's actually interesting too that would be the case. I wonder if there was some kind of Like,
It was just like a defect because like it would turn on and it would blow air, but there was nothing in there
yeah,
to actually make the console work.
yeah, it's missing like half the internal components.
Oh,
Like,
Like,
I'm wondering though,
how-
because the American version was actually different from the Japanese version. At least the internal parts were, and it was specifically
Clearly, it was.
yeah, especially there. So the Japanese version handled DVD playback differently than the American and European releases, and basically it was discovered from the Japanese release that there was DVD playback issues with the way it was handled. And for the international releases, they had made modifications and basically making it so DVD playback was significantly better. So I wonder if that's like an example of like a factory worker like, I'm gonna put this part in my system. So you just got like a bunk console because some dude was like spiteful against the Americas.
see, I was kind of hoping it sounded like, all right, everyone got this PS2. I was hoping that Liz opens up her PS2 and there's just a mouse on a wheel running.
You want to see how a PS2 works?
Yeah.
Jerks.
You see the like little grating in the front of that picture?
Yeah, the grating on the front where they have the
Yeah, you could just see straight out the back. Like the grating was there, but there was nothing inside.
So it was okay. So my theory sounds even more accurate. It sounds like some dude's like, screw this. I'm taking these guts and just putting this casing together.
Yeah, that one was very memorable, but also because like in hindsight, the price is wild because now you can get Final Fantasy X and a PS2 for like less than $75.
Yeah. The fluctuation of things is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, even right now, PS4s are like $400 or $500,
oh yeah.
and that's just because they're like all the component shortages and the fact that Sony has dedicated all of their manufacturing power to PS5s at this point. So PS4s are like not fun to find.
And it sounds like they're not manufacturing any new ones.
Yeah.
No, I mean generally not. Just because it's like the PS5 is out and PS4s have had a run for so long that it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's
Well, it's too late for it to be. It's too early in the game for it for a PS4 to be retro, and people wanting a desire to play it old school like the NES and the SNES is,
Right.
or Cube. And it's not as niche as like the PS2 was, so finding it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, like the way I look at it is, a gaming system becomes retro once there is at least one generation gap between it and the current generation. So PS3 is now retro. Sorry.
By that, now remember, typically retro is usually 20 years prior, so early 90s now would be and now early 2000s is now almost retro.
Ugh.
Dang.
I'm retro. No, it's a classic. Shut up.
Oh, now I remember one. It's a sweet story that me and our friend of mine did.
Well, by all means. What are you waiting
okay.
for?
So, a grave interpretation. With that, so me, my friend, and me and Chris, our friend Krista, so one of Liz's Zombie Hand's favorite games of all time.
I was going to tell this one as my second one.
Oh, well,
No,
glad
you-
I did this
You
one.
you go ahead.
All right. So what it is that one of her favorite video games of all time is Final Fantasy VI, the SNES version. So it came out in the Americas as Final Fantasy III, right? And we were just talking about one night about our favorite Final Fantasies, and Liz just told us so much about how special this was and how Celeste is such a great character and how all these great characters are. And I think me and you spent like hours talking about Final Fantasy VI because I can gush about that thing all over the place.
As one does.
So, as one does. So in our hometown, there is a place called VIP Games. VIP Games is a place where they literally collect old games and then they resell it.
They have like old games and new games. They're basically like a pawn shop, but
dedicated entirely to video games. So you can get some good
yeah.
collector's items if you know if they have it in stock. Um, and so what we did was like, uh, is I kept an eye on, I didn't realize that we had something. I had something set up with the owner there to let me know when Final Fantasy 3 would be coming in for SNES, and they just had a copy of it. So Liz was going to was about to come home, and she's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna do some stuff." I think she was stuck at work, and you were going to.
Oh yeah, I was leaving to go to work. At the time, I worked about a 30-minute drive away, and Krista was sitting at her computer, and she was like, "Oh, VIP got Final Fantasy 3 on the Super Nintendo in," and I was like, "Oh my God, I love that game so much! Like that is one of my favorite games ever. I would die for a copy of that." And was just like, "All right, I gotta go to work. I'll see you guys later."
And then, and at this point of time, I didn't know that Final Fantasy 3 came into the store, and so Krista turns out and goes, "Hey, you know what? They have Final Fantasy 3 at the store." And I forget which one of us did, but one of us stopped and said, "We should get this for Liz." And all I remember is the next step was me throwing stuff off a table. "Let's do this," and we gotta go. And so we ran, got into our car, got over to the VIP Games, and bought this pristine copy of Final Fantasy 3. Basically, put right back in the box, and we just saw the box, saw the game, called it a day, and picked it up. And then we also convinced the owners, who are like, "Hey, our friend Liz might be coming in. Just tell her that it's gone. It's just not here. No one has it." So we took the game, we brought it back home, we hid it from somewhere in the house, and then when Liz got home, she was like, "Hey, we should go to VIP." Yes, and with the same exact enthusiasm, bam, kick something else over. "Let's do this. We gotta go." So we went over there, and Liz is like, "Hey, do you guys have asked the owner, hey, do you have a copy of Final Fantasy 3? And the guy just there, and the other there goes, "Sorry, we just sold that last copy." And it made Liz so sad. You could see her devastate and get crushed by this whole thing. And we took her home, and we were just, she's like, "Oh well, it's a hard game to find," and Jiro also wasn't too bummed about it. Just, "Oh man, it was here, I had a chance, but I had to go to stupid work, and now I can't get it."
I had to go to work, get some stupid money so I could buy a stupid game that's not stupid there.
And so, meanwhile, Liz went off and did something. So me and Chris went back into my room and just sort of giggled to each other and just had the hand motions like, yes, this deliciously evil plot we have just done. And we took it and we packaged it up into a Christmas present, and we put it underneath a tree. Later, we had this Christmas party that everyone was going to open presents, and it's like, "Hey, you should open the present from me and Leo. I think you'll enjoy it." And Liz doesn't think anything of it. We're like, "All right." So she opens the box, sees the cover of it, and cries the biggest tears of happiness I've seen in my life.
Genuinely, like I opened it partway, saw what it was, and just cried into my hands.
Now, a normal person's instinct is to pick up their phone in the modern era and take pictures of this glorious event. Instead, I was sitting here like a cackling evil genius, like, yes, the tears, delicious, joyful
Let
tears.
me taste that salt.
Delicious. And she's happy crying about this, and it was beautiful. Then she opens the box. It turned out the VIP store got the box, but they never checked the contents inside of it. So
it's weird because they always do. They always will say like just the box or complete inbox or something like that. Like they always check.
Yeah. This case they just didn't check they checked the game, and it's because whoever put the game box back put it back in a weird way, so it was completely sealed really well. So when Liz opened it up, we found the original manual contents with it, which one of the things is a rare inbox fabric map of the Final Fantasy
fabric.
Oh, it's
It's
not
just a
fabric.
paper. No,
Oh, it's paper.
fabric maps are pretty new. It's a paper map.
Okay, but still, the original map for it, which is harder than hell to find.
Yeah, and it's a really nice map. Like when I say paper map, I'm not like, oh, it was printed out on computer paper.
Like poster.
Yeah, it's actually on like a really nice, like glossy paper.
So yeah, we made her happy cry, and apparently had tripled her value in one day of a collector's item in one day.
Nice.
And that story gives me it makes me feel joyful and happy because you don't get happy tears very often. You got to earn those.
That's a rough thing to do though. Just because it's hard to do. Oh man, those are good. Chicho, what you got in mind, bud?
Tears of embarrassment.
Oh?
I'm in for this.
Yeah. So, I was 19, destined to be getting married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So.
Okay, I know this
anyway.
one.
Yeah. So, Brandon put together a nice little bachelor party for me, and nothing too crazy. So, hanging out at a friend's house, and everybody had pitched in money and got me. So, what year was this, Brandon? 2009, right?
Yeah.
Yep, 2009. Okay, so first of all, Metal Gear Solid. I'm a big fan of that series, and Metal Gear Solid 4 had just come out fairly recently, and I couldn't play it because I did not own a PS3. Very sad. But we're at a friend's house, Nick, Clark, and Brandon's idea was to have everybody pitch in and get Cheech a PlayStation 3. So,
yeah.
it was pretty amazing. It was on film. I think it's on like one of the archived videos on Brandon's YouTube channel.
Just for that, I
don't know if
think
it's
I'm
like
gonna
the
go
personal
look for it
channel
now.
or if it's on the YieldTomato one, but
I don't
I may
remember.
have-
I'm gonna go look now.
yeah, I may have like performed some like I don't know. I hugged it.
Backflip with the Mick twist.
I don't know if I have like smaller ears overhearing what I'm saying, so I gotta be careful what I say. But I hugged that box and talked to it and adored it and opened it up, and yep, it was definitely a PS3. Very excited. But then there's a knock on the door, and it's like, oh, that's weird. We're all here. It's like 12:30 in the morning.
I forgot about this. Oh god.
Why? Like, who's knocking on the door? And there's a gentleman in a law enforcement outfit.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and something to do with like surveillance footage at Fred Meyer and a PlayStation 3 leaving the store without going through like the check stand, or like there's like no proof of purchase or something, and gullible 19-year-old Cheech is thinking that like I'm gonna go to jail because he's like, who's the owner of the PlayStation, and everybody points at me. And,
I totally
like
forgot I did
me
that.
not wanting to ever like cause trouble, I'm like, I guess I'll just be compliant, even though I clearly didn't do anything wrong. But I just like I don't even know if I talked to Brandon or if I actually said it, but in my mind I'm just thinking, okay guys, well I guess I'm going to jail now. And
I'm keeping this. I'm going to jail.
yeah, so like I walk out the door like maybe 5 or 6 steps, and then somebody grabs me by the shoulder. It's all such a blur. Somebody's just like, Cheech, you've been punked. And like just immediately I just put my hand in my face, or I put my face in my hands. I'm just like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. I felt like such a I can't even say it. It was horrible. But like the emotional roller coaster that whole experience put me on it was detrimental to my health. It was horrible.
I totally forgot about that. So that was
That's amazing and terrible. And so was it a real, like, that wasn't a real law enforcement officer?
actually-
No, well, so here's the thing.
He's a
This is friend
security
of
guard.
Brandon's. He was a security guard at like this paper mill place. So he had like the military tan, like, you know, like the county sheriff would wear or something like that. So
Yeah.
he totally looked legit. my brain's racing because it's like I've never been in trouble before. I don't know what it's like to be accused of a crime. So it's like I'll just be like, okay, guess I'm guilty now. And never mind the fact that he was just driving a regular SUV, like it wasn't like marked in any way. But yeah, anyway, at least, thank God, at least the guy didn't like strip tease on me.
Oh man, that'd have been great, huh? I'm so glad you remember more details of that than I did.
Well, it was more traumatic for me than it was for you. So.
That's trauma.
Really traumatized.
Well, I guess I made sure you're not going to forget that day you got a PS3.
Yeah.
What did you do today? Oh, I got a PS3 and arrested. What? Nothing.
From now on,
my
it's
God.
just every time he gets a PlayStation, whatever, it's always checking every corner.
So when you opened the PS4 box
PTSD.
In the mail, Chicho, did you suddenly look at the door and expect a knock?
Absolutely. No.
Last time you got me a PlayStation of any kind, I got arrested.
Yeah, they get a PS5 and like SWAT's gonna kick the door open.
You'll just
Oh,
hear,
I know it again.
you'll just hear helicopter blades.
Anyway, so yeah, it was. I mean, it's just being an outside observer in that situation. Clearly, could tell. Okay, this is not legit. But when you're like the actual like target of the prank, you're just like, how did I fall for that? I don't even know. But I'll never forget it, and I still own that PS3 today.
It still works, right?
Oh yeah, works like a charm.
Oh man, I'm so glad you remembered so much of that. Because it brings great memories to me. Yeah. Let's see here. Let me think here.
Random.
I've got a couple. I could go with something my wife has got me. I could also go with a early one. I think I'm gonna at least start with an early one. I'm gonna go with when I was still living in California. I had a couple of friends that had a PlayStation. I was like, "Oh, this PlayStation thing's so cool! I want one." And he said that, "Hey, if you get one, I'll give you one of my games." I was like, "What? Really? That's awesome! Oh, now I super want one." Told my mother. I was like, I want to get a PlayStation. One of my friends said he'd give me one of his games, so that way you wouldn't have to buy a game for me right away. And then the Nintendo 64 comes out, and this, I mean, I didn't know anything about the N64 at that point, so then I saw that, and I'm just like, oh, I changed my mind. I want an N64. This is so cool. Look at Smash Brothers and Mario 64, and look at all this cool stuff. My mother, previously when I told her about the PlayStation, she's like, okay, yeah, that sounds cool. That's neat. But when I mentioned the N64, she very abruptly was just, no. Why not? I said I wanted a PlayStation, I didn't have a problem. Why do you have a problem with me wanting an N64? Turns out she had already bought the PlayStation 1 and had wrapped it already. Because my birthday was in a few days. So for my birthday, I got a PS1, and then I got a copy of YieldTomato 2 from my friend.
Aw.
So it's just like, it was just one of those weird things where it's like, you're like, oh, this sounds so cool, I want one of these. And you share it with someone, and then they are so adamantly just straight up, no, unapologetically when you mention a different thing. It's just like, why? But yeah, it was fun. And then it came with a demo disc. And for the longest time, I couldn't remember what the name of one of the games on that original demo disc was that was playable. And
Did it come with the cursed one or the good, or or one of the other ones?
It didn't break anything. Don't worry. It had I later, like only the last couple years, I found out what the name of this frickin' game was, and it was called Blast Chamber.
Oh,
It
I played
also
last
came
year.
out on the Saturn. And basically what it was is it's like a weird rotating game show kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, it's basically separated by different colors. And you get to certain points on the map and it rotates the square room. And the idea is to try and get it so you're in one of the safe rooms before the room detonates with all the bombs in it. And I could never remember what it was until I was able to figure out a way to describe it to YouTube that it actually, or Google, whichever algorithm, and it showed me what it was. So, yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah, PlayStation 1 and YieldTomato 2. Yep, that's it. Yeah, because you could rotate the room and you could get them to, like, slam onto the spikes and all that. And then you had, like, little doors would open or, like, little rooms would appear that you would have to get into for safe zones when the timer would hit 0.
Yeah, couldn't you like push the other guy around?
I'm pretty sure you could, yeah.
Multiplayer in that thing was devastating. That part
It
I
was
do.
so
remember.
weird. Such a weird game. Oh man, who's got a second one?
Well, Leo stole mine, so.
I got one. If you don't mind, it's not as long as the first one.
No, that's fine. I mean, we can share as many as we want. I love that you went to the PlayStation 3 story, and I love that you remembered so much more detail than I did.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Trauma will do that to a person.
It's true, it will.
It's very therapeutic for me right
That
now.
is very clever, though. That's a fun story.
I can't
But
find
now
the
if it
video.
happpens to me, I'm gonna know that something's
Yeah, you'll be tipped off. Like, wait a minute.
like,
Wait a minute.
unless I'm actually being arrested and I'm like, wait, hang on a mo.
Did you shoplift this lip balm? No.
See, it would actually be chapstick if it were me because my lips are like eternally chapped.
Oh, give me a break. You would totally not be stealing that. You'd be stealing nail polish.
That's true. You're
See?
right.
Eternally chapped. That just sounds like
The opening to a bad
horrible-
porno.
well, whoa. I guess now it does. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Before that, it was just a bad B horror film that wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And then it went somewhere no one wanted it to.
Yeah. Thanks, Brandon.
You're welcome.
Boldly going where no one wants to go.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Okay, so my second story, it's fast. Just the launch of the Switch and getting up early on a work day, waking up my 5-year-old son to go wait in line to get our Nintendo Switch was amazing. And he was super excited. I was super excited. We watched like the trailers for it and like the tech demo and just totally pumped. So we went to Freddy's, got it without a hitch, super easy. I
Nice.
had to go to work. Legend of Zelda was in the mail. As soon as I got off work, my wife made popcorn. It was my oldest, who was 5 at the time, our daughter, who was 3, and my wife and I. So the 4 of us just sat on the couch, had the TV on, sitting there, and it was like movie night, but it was Legend of Zelda, and like played it for like 3 hours, and they just sat there watching me play it, and we just explored together, and were just in awe, and just had a great experience together. It was a lot of fun. And
That's
now
amazing.
that son is, maybe he wasn't 5, maybe he's like 6. Anyway, he's 10 and a half now. He's almost beaten the game. He loves it. He's a super nerd, and there's been a lot of other like joyful nerdy moments. But like that was like his rite of passage into nerdhood.
We all have our moment on that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I have a Switch story also.
Nice.
So this one's not as wholesome, I feel.
It doesn't have to be wholesome. It just has to be fun.
It's a little terrifying, actually. So when the Switch first came out, my sister wanted to get one for her boyfriend so bad because, she always wants to try and get him, like the new releases and stuff. And so she asked me to help her go to Craigslist, find somebody selling a Switch local, because at the time it was all just scalpers. Like scalpers were the only people who had any Switches. Like couldn't get them anywhere else. They weren't in stores, nothing. So so my sister had me look around on Craigslist for ones that were cheap, or like the cheaper ones, and appeared legitimate, and
basically as close to retail as you could find.
right, which still ended up being something like $750, and I think the Switch started at $400. So yeah, so she had me message a seller on Craigslist and try and get a time and a date and everything down. And I think we were able to like meet same day or like the next day or something. But I ended up taking my roommate at the time, John, who I don't talk to him anymore for reasons. But he puts an imposing figure sometimes when he tries. And so I told him like, hey, I'm going to meet somebody from Craigslist for a $750 Switch. My sister transferred the money into my account. I went to the bank to pull it out. And I was like, I just need you to stand there and look menacing so that if this is like somebody who's going to try and kill me, that maybe they think twice about it. Or if they're just going to try and like take the money and run. And so we ended up meeting in a grocery store parking lot. And this guy, so it was, or maybe it was like 740 or 760. It came in increments of 20s. And he like couldn't, like, I think he scalped these so he could get drug money. Because when he was counting out the money, he had like the weakest hands to the point, I don't know, when you're counting money, we've all done retail, and when you're counting money and you're just like, you're kind of like slipping your fingers along the bills to like make sure they're not stuck together or anything. He kept like oh my God, like not doing that. He just kept like passing them from one hand to the other and just like the weakest wrists and the weakest hands. And I was like, I watched him count the money 3 times and he was like, you're $20 short. You're $20 short. And I was like, I know we're not. And so then he counted it again. And it finally got to a point where I was like, I took the money from him and I counted it for him. And I was like 20, 40, 60, 80, 1 and handed the 100 to him. 20, 40, 60, 82 handed it to him. And then he gave the switch from there. But I was like, he is definitely getting drugs.
Yeah, he was trying to get even more money out of you.
Huh?
He was trying to get more money out of you.
Oh, yeah, he was. But my sister did the same thing with the PS5 last year for Kent. So
you have a history of going to shady places for your gaming.
Well, no. So this one actually ended up being a lot less shady. So these people, obviously they bought an extra PS5. They sold it for like $900, of course, because scalpers can. And my sister was like, tell them we want to meet somewhere public. Tell them we want to meet. And as she's telling me like where, she wants us to meet, they're messaging me going, we want to meet at a police station. And we were like,
that's public.
Okay. Yeah, it's about as public as you can get. So
you're just like perfect.
What?
You're just like perfect. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we ended up going down to meet this couple and like they show up in this like super nice car and they look like really like white bread picket fence and they've got a little dog that like they're holding under one arm and we're like, and so they got out and they had my sister Venmo the money to them, so she had to download Venmo to get that. And meanwhile, while she's downloading Venmo and getting it all set up, these people look insanely uncomfortable being a seller, like being a scalper that's selling a PS5. We look insanely uncomfortable because we're out here
spending almost $1,000.
Yeah, to get a PS5. And so it was just like kind of a weird, awkward thing all around. That one was a lot less creepy because they ended up being like, they looked super awkward and they looked so white bread that I was like, these are the scalpers? These are them?
Like you? Really?
And that ended up being a gift for Kent. Again.
That's dope. I mean, I'd be lying if I said I didn't scalp stuff before, because I have, but I've never scalped a console. Mm-hmm. I think at one point I did some of the Skylanders figures when they had those chaos traps that were fetching like $70 a piece. and they
Oh,
were like
uh-huh.
$6 to buy. So like I bought 2 of them. I gave one to my friend for his kid, and then I scalped the other one. I'm like, there, I'm done. I had my fun.
I got my fix.
Yeah, I mean that's the way I look at it. It's like, look, I understand it's a supply demand thing. If I'm going to scalp, I will not do it more than once on a single item. I just feel like that's the fair thing to do. It's like if you're gonna do it,
Right.
do it once and call it good. Say there, I did it. I got a little bit of extra cash out of this thing by playing the market. Done. Don't
Well,
screw everyone else by
and
buying 15 of them and saying they're all for sale, $100 a piece.
Right.
the tricky thing about it too, and like I'm not knocking Liz at all, but it's like, you know, if there's no buyers, then the sellers wouldn't have it marked up where it is.
Right. And that's the thing is like I don't know, like I haven't done it. It's all been my sister. But yeah, like if people would stop enabling scalpers, then there wouldn't be a market for them. And then they would just be sitting on tons and tons of PS5s that they can't sell. But people want them and there's a major shortage, so
Yep, for sure. So it's all just a, you know,
self-fulfilling prophecy.
if it goes beyond MSRP, then at that point it's just like, well, what is the value to you? And
Yeah.
you know, you can make the price what you want it. If it's, I mean, the seller can, but then you as the buyer is like, I find it that valuable that I'm willing to pay it. So
Yeah.
That's
no
why I
harm, no
like
foul.
auction
Yeah,
style.
definitely. I could see like, you know, somebody buying like 10 or 15 of them just to like, it's like they're making money, but it's also like, as a gamer, it's like you're ruining a little kid's hopes and dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Those
such an
people are
issue.
terrible. I might have one by now if that hadn't been the case, but I don't. I just play on my sister's boyfriends.
So has he bought her a ring yet? Because she spent a lot of money on him.
No, and they don't plan on getting married, so
Hey, you know what? That's fine. I mean, to each their own, honestly.
yeah, he buys her nice phones and fancy ass mixers. Like blender mixers,
Okay.
like to bacon, not mixers like drinks.
I was like, hold
Well,
on a
I
second.
didn't go with
What?
that one. I went with like I don't know why, but my brain went straight into like mixtapes.
Huh.
There's an EP I've been working on.
Leo, your age is showing.
It probably does.
That being said, I still burn CDs for my car. So,
Same, but that's because my auxiliary cable is busted in my car. It is not good. So I have a Bluetooth FM tuner that
Right.
works most of the time. But other than that, I have burnt CDs in my car.
nice. So, I've got another one I'm going to go with, which is going to be a gift that my wife got me one year for Christmas. And then I'm going to actually segue into another thing that she'll never admit to, for a different thing,
Ooh,
just because.
Intriguing.
Just because.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you fucking do. You in that smirk laying on the couch. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So we're gonna start with the with the Christmas gift, simply because not only was it super tailored and specific for me, so was the wrapping job. Now, this was, what was it for? I know it was a couple years ago now, but basically, what she did is she had gotten me the original Play Arts Cloud figure with the Hardy Daytona bike.
Oh,
Yeah, they're not nearly as small as that now. Now the Play Arts Kais, those things are gigantic. But this one, Cloud is like one of my favorite protagonists, simply because he is a straight up, literal characterization of coming of age and not knowing what you want to do with your future. I mean, I think it's an easy way to make it so a character is relatable to almost every player. So she got me this figure and she wrapped it, but she wrapped it not like a normal Christmas gift. If I remember right, I'm pretty sure this was Christmas. It may not have been, though, now that I think about it. But the way it was wrapped is she actually got question mark and exclamation point gray.
No, you're thinking
I bet I am. So
No,
did you?
You're thinking of the Metal Gear one now.
Yeah, the wrapping job was Metal Gear, wasn't it?
You're thinking of two. Hang on.
Okay, so no. All right. Well, one of the gifts she wrapped at one point. I get these mixed up because she does this artistic thing with them. But one of the gifts she got me one year was literally like question mark exclamation point Metal Gear Solid style, and then she made a custom bow and cut out in yellow the Kojima Fox logo
Aw.
and made that
That's
the centerpiece of the
awesome.
bow. And
Wow.
I remember that wrapping job because it was fucking amazing.
I don't have the cloud one on my.
So then I know what the cloud one was. Otherwise, so for that one then which this one must have been this one was she had wrapped it in like a blue-green paper, like Mako,
Mm-hmm.
and then she got like a different shade of that for like ribboning on it, and a matching bow with it. But then she made a duct tape Buster Sword to go in with it onto the
Aww.
bow. So she like does this incredible customization job with like personalization for gifts, and it's absolutely nuts, and I love when she does it. Like, I'm pretty sure it's posted somewhere on Facebook some time ago, because I always have to draw attention to like the fantastic little art pieces that she'll do like that, just to make it a little bit more personal. Yeah, that's okay, so there's Jackie pitching in with the Metal Gear one.
Awesome. That's
super
really
cool.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You still have that somewhere, and you have the bows. You kept them.
I know I kept them. I don't remember where I put them. They gotta be. They're in a drawer then. Yeah, but yeah. So like, it's just like criminy.
But yeah, I don't have the.
That's attention to detail, man.
If that's not love, I don't know what is.
Right? Plus, I'm like, when I got that, I was like, where the hell did you get this wrapping paper? It's perfect.
I think it was cellophane.
I'm mad at it.
Wrapping paper.
No, this was regular wrapping paper.
Wow.
Yes.
I thought it was just blue cellophane over something. I don't know.
No,
Someone
because you
made it.
actually pulled out the roll after that. I'm like, where did you find this?
This one, the Valentine's Day one, is just made out of tissue paper.
Oh, yes, the umbrella Valentine's gift. She actually took this tissue paper that you'd usually pack in and used that as wrapping paper to keep with the color theme. And made an umbrella heart.
Good job, Jackie.
Yeah, she makes gifts so damn memorable. Like-
If I have the time.
Like, to the point where I can't even remember what the wrapping was for, but I remember the wrapping so clearly. It's like, oh man, that's so cool.
You could make it memorable for Brandon by giving him trauma. That helped for Chicho.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Some people respond better to...
I'll remember to give you trauma.
No, don't give me trauma. I don't need any more of that. There's a reason I was sharing it with Chicho.
You want to know how I got these mental scars?
I want to know how I got these scars. My friend got me a PlayStation. That's a mental scar? Shut up, I'm not done.
Hang on, there's more.
But wait, there's more! I can see my wife frantically looking at her pictures. I think she's trying to find
I
the...
have too many. Give me a minute.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think she's looking for the cloud wrap job. But yeah. So now I'm going to segue that over to one of the times we went to the Retro Video Game Expo.
Hey, I've been there.
I know, right? Isn't it fun
It is.
when it actually happens?
Oh, they changed
Yes.
how Safari
Yes, it
works
does.
on the phone.
Of course they did.
I hate it.
So we went, and as you know, I'm a big Resident Evil fan.
Say
What?
what?
I had no
know.
idea.
Yeah, I was-
Impossible.
Impossible. And this was, quite a few years ago now, because the price on all kinds of these things has now gone astronomically high. And there was a unopened, brand new Gamecube chainsaw controller for Resident Evil 4.
Remember this?
And
Super cool. It's such a lousy controller.
oh god, yeah, no, it's horrible, but I love the fact that it exists. I also have the PS2 controller, which has gyros in the controller. So in order to raise your gun, you actually have to put the chainsaw down like you're using it to cut something. Yeah, it's dumb. It's bad. That's how you aim. But so the GameCube one, it's brand new, sealed. I don't remember what his price was. I felt it was too high. I made him an offer, and he didn't even counter on it. He just flat out said no. I was like, all right, well, if it's still here later, maybe he'll be willing to wiggle on it. Who knows? And, I start to go off, and then Jackie goes and walks up to the guy and talks with him. And then walks back. I'm like, what's going on? And she's like, you should go back there and talk to him again. And I was like, why? And I go back there, and then he takes the price that I had offered.
Aww.
So I was like, why? What did you do?
You just couldn't take it, could you? Just can't have it.
And
Jackie,
what did
hush.
Jackie do?
Clearly what she did is she paid the difference. And she refuses to admit it.
Maybe she got him to just lower the price. Maybe she went back and talked to him and was like,
Yeah, put up her arms like,
Hey,
why I
listen.
oughta.
Yeah, maybe
No, there's no fucking way. I know she walked up to him.
all rude.
You're rude because you still won't admit it, and it's been like 10 years. Oh no, now I feel old. But yeah, no, so I was just like giddy as hell, but I'm also giving her like the stink eye the whole time, like, I know what you did. And she just constantly is like, I have no idea what you're talking about, and she won't make eye contact about it. She just keeps going. I'm like, you're a dirty liar. Aw.
Jackie, tell me.
She might
tell
message you
Liz,
later
Liz
and just
will
like,
tell
I'll
me.
admit it. But if you tell him, I'll kill you.
All right, but it better be worth it.
It's like, I will literally walk all the way. I have your address, she'll say, and she'll walk there. You'll find her in about 3 weeks. She'll walk. I think it's more than that.
Yeah, but I
That's
don't think
where-
it's more than 800.
Yeah, because first she's got to walk 500 miles, and then she'll walk 500 more. Just
That's
to
true,
be the
because she'll
person
turn
who
around and
comes
come
to-
back
No,
home.
because no, listen, I'm just saying, from here to San Diego, it's about 1,100 miles. So she's gonna walk 500 miles and then 500 more. She's gonna end up back at your house and then a little.
Okay, fair enough.
If Jackie walks 500 miles and then walks 500 more, she'll be that psycho stabbing Liz through that door.
Yeah. Yeah, because she spilled the beans. But no, so that
I
was...
wouldn't do that.
It's such a memorable thing because it's like it was one of the earlier trips we had done to the retro fair, because we started going like the same year we started dating, like 2 months after we started dating,
Woo!
and then like the last couple years they've canceled the last two, and we're all butthurt and upset about that. But whatever. They ruined our tradition, man. Screw you, COVID.
You tell COVID. You tell
I know,
COVID
right?
good.
Well, that told me good. So yeah, memorable gifting things that.
Yeah, I can't find it.
Oh, and Jackie still can't find that one picture. I might find it eventually. It might pop up on a memory or something on Facebook. Oh, but yeah, those are fun times. Anybody got any more?
Nothing holiday
Think
themed. Yep.
How about times that you, aside from what, maybe even ones that you received or given, doesn't matter which one. Chicho went over one he received and one he gave, technically, because it was kind of a gift to his son, since now his son's obsessed with the game. I'd go over ones I've given, but Chicho kind of elaborated further on the one I would have gone with, I think.
No.
I can't think of any more because I think that those were the memorable ones, and then also the ones that were like less memorable, or I mean memorable in the sense that I went into weird situations for it.
Yeah. That's fair. That's
meeting
weird.
meeting a druggie in a
Yeah. drugs are
in a
bad.
park lot. Very weird.
I'm going to touch a little bit on scalping now because I have a direct story with this. Not that I was a part of it, but I had to be a part of the stopping of it, technically.
Mm-hmm.
So when the 360 was a prevalent thing, during that gaming generation, China lifted a very large gaming ban. And I was working at an electronics store. And before the holidays, we received a very large supply of Xbox 360s. And a couple of Asian men came in and on credit card bought, I shit you not, 25 Xbox 360s at $300 a piece.
Holy shit.
Yeah. After that, I had a talk with our manager saying, it's like, this is stupid. I know what they're doing. They're shipping them overseas and selling them for $6 to $7.
Yeah, because they would be able to.
Because the market was fresh and new over there, and there was no supply for legal purchased consoles yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they were doing with them. And what do you know? That stopped happening after a couple months because the market existed and became level. So that's when, there was a very aggressive one per person policy put in place for game consoles.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Goodness.
that's just my immediate and direct story that was frustrating as all heck.
Isn't there a section in China that it's nothing but bootlegs? Like it's a bootleg alley. Like even the stores are bootleg.
Totally, yes. 100% is.
Mexico has one too, just letting you know.
Nice.
Yeah.
I can go more locally for my bootleg stuff.
Well, actually, did you find any of those when you went to Mexico?
Like Xbox 360s just lying around?
No. Like any bootleg alley.
Good
Oh,
bootlegs.
no, yeah, dude, that's why I said it. Like, when I was there, okay, so it's been a minute, but the last time I was there, senior in high school, and just, just so anybody listening to this doesn't get the wrong idea, like, I was there seeing the family, so it wasn't, like, just me making some sort of, like,
Drug run.
one-off comment about, like, a place I've never been before, but, like, it's legit. Like, there was, like a Saturday market, that you would see anywhere in good old USA. They have them, too. But they have like just tents and tents and tents of like, this is clearly not legal. You know what you're getting into. Best prices you're going to find around.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I watched I Am Legend like 2 months before. No, not 2 months, but I mean, gosh, several months before it came out to DVD. Like it was still in theaters. So watched that on my laptop that I took there. Tried to watch bootleg Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, but just thought, I'll just wait till I'm stateside again. I'll just see it in theaters. Because I was reading the book at the time, and I had just finished reading the book. I was like, we can get a bootleg copy, and it was just horrible. So, anyway, yep.
Gotta love good old cams.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I know that, I remember Woody almost picked up some bootleg console stuff when he went to China. He ultimately didn't.
Lame.
Yeah, I did technically have for a while I had a PS2 that was out of China because it was a modded PS2.
Oh.
I had gotten it from a guy that actually bought it himself in China because he was teaching English there for a couple years.
I have a modified Xbox that was modified by a guy of Korean descent, but it was in the United States, so.
US of
Not,
A.
not the same. That didn't have import problems.
Yeah, right. But I've since sold that PS2 to one of my wife's former coworkers before she switched jobs, so that's because I can still play all the same stuff. I just don't do it on a modded console. I do it on a test console for debugging. It's one of the things I got. Chicho, do you have any other stories that you'd like to share?
Not any that match the topic at hand.
Fair enough. And Liz is out. Scorpio's out.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm out too. I mean, I could probably come up with more, but I mean, on the fly, it's kind of
I went for the more memorable ones that I have.
yeah,
I went
like
for
the
the
ones that
most
stand
memorable
out.
one,
Those are super important. So
Yeah. Those are the first two that came to mind when you said what it is. I was like, I know.
it's always good. Well, on that note, I think it's time for us to thank everybody for joining us today. We would like to also invite you to visit the YouTube channel at youtube.com/YieldTomato to watch the videocast version of this podcast. You'll also find links in the description for all of our speakers here. Hopefully, you will join us again for more of the magic we all enjoy on the screen. Take care, everybody.
Yay.
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 Bye.
Bye.
Bye.